Anybody feel all right today? Woo! Bates is here. Bates, hey, hey. You know, I see a few other CEOs too. Do you know what that is? That's Christmas and Easter only. Christmas and Easter only. No, Bates is here visiting from out of town. I'm just playing with you. There are a few CEOs, you know, and that's wonderful. That if you all came every Sunday, we would get to do 3 services every Sunday. You know, that would make me so happy. The board worries about me saying those things, but I would be thrilled if I had to do 3 of these every Sunday. Amen? Amen? What a great day. The Christ is risen in me this day. Will you say with me, the Christ is risen in me? Together? The Christ is risen in me. You know, we're just going to have fun today. It's going to be totally different than the last one. I don't know what's going to happen, and I love that. Can I tell you how I just love? Who's ever heard Bob Marley on Easter? Amen? What? It's so funny how it happened. What happened is everywhere I went, have you ever been in the mall and you're hear Bob Marley and it's this vibe is totally wrong for this store. But anyway, everywhere I would go or I'd be somewhere eating, I was at this Thai restaurant and there was a Thai version of One Love. And and I'm going, I don't know what this is. And then I was on the phone with Jonathan Ivey, who we brought in for today, and we talked about the service. Neither one of us ever said the words Bob Marley, but after he got off the phone with me, he wrote on a piece of paper in ink, we include Bob Marley on the piece of paper. And then the next time I talked to him, he said, on Easter, we are supposed to do Bob Marley. And I burst out laughing. I said, I know, because everywhere I go, he's following me. That's the spirit thing that can't be explained. I don't know why. I just know. Whatever. So our job is to say yes when God calls us to do something unexpected, right? Our answer is yes. And in the last 2 services, I've had 2 Bob Marley addicts who said, you made my year by doing that in church. Because I've always said it was so spiritual, the lyrics, right? So is that song, One Love, that's what Jesus was all about. One love, universal love for all. Amen? Universal love. That's what this day is about. Nobody's left out of the resurrection. Jesus doesn't say, well, I really only rose for the Jews, right? Or those Gentiles that never understand anything. No. So it's the resurrection is for each one of us to show us how to do it, to show us how to walk this spiritual journey of the evolving soul. In other words, anything's possible in life, even if it doesn't look like it is. Anything's possible. Christ in you, your hope of glory. Say with me, Christ in me, my hope of glory. Together? Christ in me, my hope of glory. It's there's hope for me. There's hope for me. If Jesus did what he could do, then there's got to be something great that I can do. I don't have to do that one. I don't have to be on the cross. I don't have to do that. All this week, every time I thought about suffering, I said to myself, Jesus already suffered. I don't have to suffer anymore. Right? Right? That I can have Holy Week and 1 billion services in 1 week and still feel good. Right? I can still feel good. It doesn't require me to suffer. I love this. Why would I not want to do it? But it's easy to get, do you know what I mean about easy to get into suffer mode? All of a sudden, there's just so much to do and there's not enough time. And all you see is what's not possible rather than what's possible. We do this all the time, right? All the time. It's part of the human condition. But you are a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe that is governed by spiritual laws. You are a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe that is governed by spiritual law. That's the truth. You are a spiritual being. You say, yes, I'm having a human experience. Forget about all that. Forget about all that. I'm a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe that's governed by spiritual law. Say that with me. I am a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe that is governed by spiritual law. In other words, the spiritual laws are greater than the man-made laws, see? Right? There's a spiritual law that trumps everything. So if you get ready to heal, Spirit says, let's go. When you get ready to heal, Spirit says, ready. I've been waiting all this time. But see, Spirit does, and we often sit there and say, well, Spirit, whatever you want me to do. Have you had this conversation with God before? Spirit, if you want me to heal, maybe. If you want me to, then let it be. And Spirit says, anytime you're ready. Right? Have you heard the statement, God can do no more for you than God can do through you? Right? So Spirit is waiting on you to say yes to your resurrection experience. You have to say yes to it. We started out the service, even before the service, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, right? Today is about yes to God, yes to Spirit, yes to the good in us, yes, yes, yes. Today I say yes. Just give out a yes if you feel like, just yes, 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 yes. We also, on the spiritual journey, have to learn how to say no, don't we? Right? Oh, you say yes. Yeah, no. No, I mean yes. I mean, what? I don't know. Am I supposed to say yes or no right here? I don't know. Just yes, no, whatever. Just whatever. Right? The word no is my new yes. Have you heard that? I love that. You know, instead of having, I don't know. Maybe it's how I grew up. I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or because I'm from the South or all of the above. That it's like somehow I learned along the way, just do for everybody else first and put yourself last. And many of our churches teach that too. You know, and abuse us into that, in fact, when it's really, the scripture says, love your neighbor as yourself. In other words, you're supposed to be loving yourself first, right? Right? So that's a real learning for me. That's a real learning for me. What does this have to do with Easter? Everything. Because it's me being made new and realizing the old ways I was told to be don't apply anymore. So I'm going to leave those with the linens in the tomb, right? I'm leaving them with the old linens in the tomb. Those are going away. The old is passing away. And I don't have to blame anybody or say how wrong it was and all this jazz and leave mad. You know what I mean by leave mad, right? Slam the door on the way out and tell the family how wrong they are and all that jazz. Over. Forget it. Over. But we can still move into our new day, right? We still move into our new day, into our Christ itself. And when we do really important spiritual work, like, oh my gosh, Friday night, the spiritual work that was done in here at Good Friday with the forgiveness and, the tears and just admitting the human experience of having to cry sometimes, of everybody has pain. What do we do with it? What does the cross teach us about just giving everything to God, completely surrendering to God so that the physical can just fall away, and sometimes there's pain involved in that, but then we know the resurrection comes, right? We know Sunday comes, right? You've probably heard that real old recording of Sunday's coming, right? Sunday's coming. Well, Sunday's here, and it's been here. The scripture says, behold, there's a new heaven and new earth, right? There's a new heaven and a new earth now. Right? So no waiting. The new heaven and the new earth is ready for you now. But first you have to learn to spend time with God. You have to learn to rest in God. That's what Jesus, I believe, was doing in the tomb all that time, was resting in God. That's what I believe, is Jesus was resting in God and gathering strength for the next more wonderful things he was about to do. And then before he leaves the planet, he gathers all the disciples and says, by the way, I'm not going to leave you even though it looks like it. Right? Lo, I am with you always, even unto the ends of the age. Right? So all those times that you felt like you've been walking alone, you haven't been. All those times you say, why doesn't God do something? God's doing it in you. God's waiting on you to notice God right inside of you, right in the midst of you, right? So that's my prayer for each one of us on this Easter, is that we'll rest in God enough to know that no matter what's going on in life, God's right there with us. It's up to us just to grab onto that and hold on for dear life, right? I had a good friend in a health challenge, and she was in ministerial school at the time, and she was having this problem of just fainting for no reason doctors could figure out. She went to the doctor, and they were, tested everything you might imagine, blood sugar, heart, all that kind of stuff, and they couldn't figure it out. So she finally went into the hospital just for tests, because there was virtually nothing else they could do but run a battery of tests to try to figure it out. Well, she's there, and she's laying in the bed, and a chaplain comes in. It happened to be a Unity minister, which is very unusual in a hospital setting. And the minister said, what are you doing in this bed? And she said, I don't know. Nobody can figure it out. She said, I'm terrified too, because what happens, I go to faint, and I think, am I dying? What's going to happen? And so the woman who was there, who, by the way, became a friend of mine later, the chaplain, I worked under her as a chaplain. And she said to the woman, anytime you're going to go down, I just want you to fall back into God. Just fall back into God. Feel it, know it, that God's got you. Don't worry. If you die, how much better? Fall back into God. Meaning, right, that if you died when you fell, you would fall right into God. Beautiful. Beautiful. So that's all she needed, was to shift just a little bit. And then she, working with the doctors, kind of figured out a plan. It was mostly like her figuring it out, like what to eat, what not to eat. To this day, she has to eat like every 2 hours to keep everything feeling good. But she's never forgotten the lesson. She told it to me many times. Alice, no matter what happens, just fall back into God. If somebody's talking about you, fall back into God. If somebody, hurts you, betrays you, fall back into God. Fall back into God. So that's my default. Fall back into God. So this weekend, from all these services, which there are a lot, and yesterday I just laid down. I just said, I just need to just lay here. And I remember laying on the couch just thinking, I'm just going to rest in God right now. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to read anything spiritual. I'm not even going to light a candle or burn sage or incense or ding bells together. Even though I love all that stuff. You understand? I love all those spiritual things. But I just said to myself, what do I need? I just need to be in God right now. And you know what? Just the awareness changes everything. There's nowhere you have to go or a specific thing you have to do. It's here always, right in the midst of you. God is here in the midst of me. Will you say that? God is here in the midst of me. In other words, Jesus Christ is here now, raising me to his power and consciousness. I don't have to work at it. It happens. As I fall back into God, it happens. I don't have to affirm it into being. Right? I don't have to convince God to meet me. God's already met you. Right? Remember the scripture of the prodigal son, where the son returns home and he's got a big speech worked out to say to the dad about, I've sinned and I'm so bad. And many of us have heard that, right? That you're sinned and you're bad. And he went home to the dad, and before he could even say, by the way, I've sinned and I'm bad, the dad says, be quiet. We're going to have a feast. Right? Here's a special robe. Here's a ring, the whole thing. Now, there's all kinds of stories in that. I don't know why I'm going on prodigal son, because then there's the one that's been there the whole time working, and he has an idea about all that, right? But the son is welcomed home with open arms. That's how it is. That's how it is with God. Mother, Father, God. However you picture God, by the way. You call God Father, wonderful. You call God Mother, fine. Spirit, Buddha, it doesn't matter. God doesn't care what you call it. Right? Any name that we give God limits God anyway. You think God looks like a man or a woman? No. Maybe. We always make God in our image, don't we? Just so we can try to understand, because it's so big we can't understand. Right? So if all we remembered today was that it was a new day, and that if any time life happened, we just could just rest in God, just fall back into God, what a wonderful day it would be. So instead of trying to solve every problem from the level of the mind, you would solve it from the level of your soul. You would remember one love is what it's all about. Universal love, all in all. Universal love, available for you every moment of every day. Right here it is. Right here it is. I think I'm going to read a scripture. Matthew 28 says, after the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. And suddenly there was a great earthquake. For an angel of the Lord descending from heaven came and rolled back the stone and sat upon it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing white as snow. For fear of him, the guards shook and became like dead men. But the angel said to the women, do not be afraid. I know that you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He's not here, for he has been raised, as he said. Come see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples he has been raised from the dead, and indeed he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. This is my message for you. In other words, the way has been made for you. You just follow behind. The way has been made. Just the same way our ancestors from our family have paved the way. Jesus the Christ in our spiritual heritage has paved the way for us. How are you paving the way for those that come after you? If you knew that you were the leader that you are, would you be happy with where you're leading people right now? Would you be happy with where you're leading them right now? By your life, by your love, by your work, by your attitudes, by your behaviors, by the way you drive? I had to let you out of that. Somebody was starting to get scared. I had to give you a moment. So this morning I had a great experience. This morning I went to meditate as always. By the way, I love getting here before anybody, and pretty much every Sunday I do. And this Sunday was really early because Jivey had sound check, with the band, and they came in extra early and everything. So we got here, and I love driving on campus when nobody's here, and it was so dark, I felt like total undercover agent for God, It's like, bum, 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 Anyway, and so I go, that was Mission Impossible, I guess. But anyway, you get the idea. I don't know what an undercover agent for God song is. I'm sure there is one. But anyway, I went in my office as normal, and I went to meditate, and it was really dark. I couldn't even read my Bible or anything. It was so dark, and I usually have my office kind of like dark and kind of, it's kind of like chill with this really cool music that just sets a really nice energy. So I was kind of a little off kilter because that was unusual. So I went to sit, and I sit in this special place when I meditate, and I sat in this special chair, and I look out my window. I do this every Sunday, at least once, sometimes 2 or 3 times, depending on the day and what I'm needing and how I'm checking in with Spirit. But today I closed my eyes and it was dark, and I opened my eyes at the end and it was light. And I thought, what a great Easter gift. That's exactly how it is. Right? So when we rest in God, we move into darkness. Right? We move into darkness, and sometimes we bring our darkness from life, don't we? And then when we awaken, it's like all of a sudden all lights are on. It's our new day in Christ, right? Jesus Christ is here now, raising me to his consciousness. That's the truth of each of you. Jesus Christ is here now, raising me to his consciousness. The very Christ presence that was known in Jesus is known in you. Not only this day, but especially this day. Especially this day, people all over the world are celebrating this energy, this consciousness being known in each one of us. So my prayer for each one of you is not only will you know that, but you'll live from that. Not just know it here, but know it here. And that you'll begin to, even more than you're doing already, live from your soul, right? We want to live from our soul, not from our mind that tries to figure everything out, but our soul from a place of trust, right? Knowing it's God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, right? Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life, right? So it's that Christ presence that gives us the life that we desire. It's God's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. Say that with me. It's God's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. That's light, that's love, that's joy, that's spiritual knowledge, that's intuition, that's wisdom. God's good pleasure to bring you that every day of the week, not just Easter. Every day of the week. It's God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. I got excited there. It's like sometimes I think, maybe I'm not living up to my potential. And what I really want to do every day is seek God's guidance for my life. And I think, is there something more? Is there some bigger way I can live into this promise? So that's always my prayer. That's always my prayer. To be a blessing, to be blessed, yes. But then the prayer says, is there anything more for me? I'm ready. I'm open. I'm available. Right? That's my hope for you. That's your prayer. That when you close your eyes, it's dark. And when you open them, it's light again. Right? That you get awakened from your time with God, your relationship with God, that you're nurturing every day in some way. Even if it's just resting in God, literally on the couch doing nothing. That's a type of meditation. Because you're bringing the awareness of God to life. So that we can have a greater experience of God in life. That's our goal. That's our goal.